Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over the water to Denmark once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery who I personally think produce some very nice stuff. So for this one we are going to return to Indslev Bryggeri, who, remember, also produce the Ugly Duck Brewing Company beers, and we're actually going to have a taste of one of the Indslev ones tonight. So this one is my third review from the Indslev range, and this is the Sort Hvede, and this should be quite interesting. It's a wheat stout hybrid and it comes in at 6.5%. If you remember a few videos ago I reviewed the Hvede IPA from these guys, and it was a really nice wheat IPA hybrid. It was very nicely done, but apparently this one is the best beer that you're going to find from Indslev Bryggeri. It's got the best rating out of all of the ones that they do on Rate Beer, so I'm very interested to try this, and apparently these guys do some very interesting hybrid beers, so it should be a really interesting one for us. And they do actually have a similar beer in the Ugly Duck Brewing Company range. It's called Putin, and it's a kind of Russian Imperial wheat stout sort of thing, so I look forward to trying that. They did send me a bottle of that, and incidentally a huge thank you to Mike and Anders at the brewery for supplying these beers for me to review. I hope you guys enjoy the reviews. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you do want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual websites are in the video description below. That's the brewery websites for both Indslev and for the Ugly Duck Brewing Company, my reviews of both brands that I've done so far. You can find both links in the description below, and there's all the usual YouTube things, all the usual social media, Facebook, Twitter and Untappd. Please follow me on there, and do subscribe to the channel if you want to see more beer reviews. And I will apologise in advance to my Danish viewers for any bad Danish pronunciations in this video. I'm still getting used to Swedish, of course, since I moved here to Lund, so please do bear with me on the Danish one. But do let me know some other Danish beers and breweries that you would like me to have a look at. But anyway, to tell you about Indslev Bryggeri. So these guys are based in Nørre Aaby near Middelfart on the island of Hvede in Denmark. If you think where Copenhagen is, that big island is Sjælland. Just to the west you've got the island of Hvede, which is home to Odense, I think one of the other very big cities in Denmark, and then up in the northwestern part of that island you have Middelfart and Nørre Aaby just close by. But the Indslev Bryggeri has roots that trace back to 1897, but they reopened as a modern brewery in 2006, and since 2012 they've also been brewing the Ugly Duck Brewing Company beers. The brewery is owned by Anders Rasmussen, whose great-grandfather Frederick built the brewery building back in 1897, and both of them actually grew up on the family farm right next to the brewery. But Indslev were the first modern brewery in Denmark that specialised in the brewing of wheat beer, and they remain the only brewery to do this in Denmark to date. But their desire to brew different beers, mainly the kind of American style craft beers in addition to these wheat beers, was what led them to found the Ugly Duck Brewing Company as a sidearm to Indslev Bryggeri. But the two brewers at the brewery are Stefan Peter Sadler, who is from Munich, and he graduated as a brewer from the famous Hofbräu school in the city, and he's worked at various German and Danish breweries. And there's also Torben Steenholt, who previously worked for Velia and for Brockhaus Bryggeri, both two quite well-known breweries across the water in Denmark. But the brewery building has been modernised, and they've got a lot of nice brewing equipment from Kasper Schultz in Bamberg in Germany. If you do know German beer at all, you will know that Bamberg, in that northern Franconia region just to the north of Bavaria, is very famous. So if you do get the chance, go and check out that region. There's about 300 breweries there, so you're pretty much in beer heaven, and these guys do produce some very nice wheat beers as well, and it's a bit different from the German one, so that's one thing to keep in mind when you do try the beers from this brewery. But that's enough about the brewery history. So just to list the other beers you can get from the Indslev brand, so there's this guy here, which is the Sort Hvede, which is a wheat stout beer. Svane Hvede, which is a white kind of wheat beer, I guess you could say. There's the Spelt Bock, Påske Hvede, which is their Easter beer, Jul Hvede, which is the Christmas beer, Hvede IPA, which I reviewed for you before, which is very nice, Hvede, which is their white wheat beer. There's the Hvede Bock, which is a Weizenbock. You'll see me review that very soon. There's Frederick's Påske, which is another Easter beer, Mørk Hvede, which is a dark wheat. You've seen me review that already. Frederick Jul, and Frokost, which is a lunch beer. And of course there are the Ugly Duck Brewing Company beers too. As I say, go and check out the brewery websites in the video description below, and you can learn more about those. But anyway, let's actually get stuck into this beer. So as I mentioned to you, this one is a 6.5% wheat stout. Should be a very interesting one. Apparently it has 50% black malt and 50% wheat malt, so it should meet somewhere nicely in the middle. I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one before we open it up. You can see there's the nice kind of swan on the label here. All the beers, incidentally, from Indslev Bryggeri are presented in a similar way, just different colours and stuff like that. They all have this kind of nice neck label there and plain bottle caps. It would actually be cool if they produced this on the bottle cap, maybe a nice black bottle cap with this silver swan on it. That would be really nice, but I guess maybe that's something they'll add in the future. But this beer is best before the 30th of December 2016, so it's well in date. We'll open this guy up and we'll get on with the review now. It should be really nice. So let's get this beer open and we'll get on with the tasting. So, as you can see, quite a smoky opening on this one. Ooh, I'm getting a bit of gas from it. But as you can see, pours a really nice dark ebony colour. It's actually quite viscous. You need to watch with these wheat beers sometimes that you don't get too much of a head. So I'll just pour this carefully, and I guess that's about half of the bottle just out there. That's enough to have a look at the aroma for the moment though. But as you can see, this beer, as I mentioned to you, pours a really nice dark ebony rosewood colour. If I shine it in front of the light, I'll just maybe tip the light a little bit and let you see. It's a nice dark ebony rosewood colour. There's a bit of a ruby edge to it. You can see that just around the edges there. There's a 2/3 finger of a frothy beigey tan head on this one, a typical German looking head on this beer. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head. Overall, looks like a very nice beer. No real transparency to it, but that's probably just because of how dark the beer itself is. So let's take a look at the aroma here and see how we get on. So, on first note, just without sugaring the aroma up, or without sugaring the beer up I should say, it smells more like a stout. Definitely leans more towards that stouty character. There's some sweet chocolate in there, some roasted bready character, definitely a bit of toasted caramel as well. I want to say as well that it actually smells a little bit smoky, which is quite interesting. It almost has a little bit of a reminder of those Bamberg Rauch beers actually. That's really interesting. There is a little bit of a nice smoky, almost meaty character coming out of this one. That's really quite interesting. Unless I'm picking this up totally wrong, it has that really nice roasted malt character. But when you sugar it up, you start to get more of the wheat beer character coming out of this. There's definitely a bit of German noble hop in there, but the sweet caramel starts to come out when you sugar it, and more of that big bready wheat malt. There's a really interesting aroma to this. So as I always say with the beers, just take a little bit of time and take in the aroma and see all the different things that you can get. The aroma is always really nice to have a look at, and this one is certainly no exception to that. This beer was rated at 80 overall on Rate Beer incidentally, but 94 within the style. It was really nice. But yeah, some nice meaty smoke in there like I was saying. I didn't expect that from this one. I thought it was going to be very chocolatey with a bit of really roasted coffee character. And in fairness, you can pick up just a little hint of the very dark coffee, but there's a lot of that kind of well-fired black bready like roast bread crust, I guess you could describe it. I always think of the well-fired rolls that my dad liked to bring in on Sundays when we always made sausage and bacon rolls. Reminds me a lot of that. But some sweet caramel, a lot of chocolate in there too. But some of the sweeter, more bready aspects of this beer come out when you start to sugar it up. There's definitely the kind of nice, sweet, wheaty character that you expect, the big bready yeast, and some clove and slightly peppery spices. A bit of German noble hop character too. There's an element of earthy hop and maybe just a little bit of grassiness. But overall, it smells really quite sweet, and it does lean, I think, more towards the stout aroma just when it's settled down, but it's more like a wheat beer when you sugar it up. So it's very interesting in that regard. So without further ado then, let's get stuck into this beer. This one is the best beer according to Rate Beer from Indslev Bryggeri in Denmark. So let's try this guy. This is the Sort Hvede from Indslev Bryggeri in Nørre Aaby, Hvede, Denmark. Skål! Yeah, that is a really nice beer. No question about that at all. I'm going to pour a little bit more of it, just because I'm very eager with this one. But I can see, you know, what I will say about this, I enjoyed the Hvede IPA, I enjoyed the Mørke Hvede, but this one is quite easily better than both of them. I would stick with that. Quite rightly, this beer Can't speak for the other ones, obviously, because I've only tried, this is only the third one I've tried from them so far. But based on the two I've tried, and there's nothing wrong with the other two beers, but this one is quite a bit better than the others. This is really, really nice. They've got that balance between the stout and the wheat side of things, really nicely done. The one thing you'll notice that I find with the Indslev Bryggeri beers, especially the wheat beers of course, is just how smooth they are. They're so nicely done, and that smooth character is carried over into this one, and it really helps promote that nice infusion of styles that they've got in this beer. It really is very nice stuff. And just in the aftertaste on the start of this one, there's a really nice lingering chocolatey and big bready character. It's very well done, this. You really have to try it for yourself because it is quite an interesting style. And on the basis of this one, like I mentioned to you, they have that Putin beer that they do for Ugly Duck Brewing Company. I'm very interested to see how that one turns out. I think that's more of an imperial stout than a regular stout, but this one is very, very nice. And of course, Ugly Duck do shine when it comes to dark beers, and I guess that carries over, or it has carried over from the Indslev Bryggeri. This beer is very nice. As I say, I think it's quite justifiably the best beer that you're going to try from these guys, I think. Yeah. So yeah, I would say with this beer, the middle of your palate is just blanketed with that big, nice bready malted character. The wheat aspect of it is there, the nice big, quite heavily bodied yeast. It just sits there across the middle of the tongue. There's a nice bit of body to it, but at the same time you can get some of the German rye bread character coming out of this one. I think there's a really good blend of flavours in here, but in the middle of the palate too there's some sweet chocolate and also a bit of toasted caramel. There's not too much in the way of a kind of roasted bread crusty or slightly coffee-ish bitterness. I was really expecting some of that from this beer, but overall it is actually quite sweet, and the malt base in this just blends together very, very well. Yeah, that is really, really nice. Fully deserves its rating that it's got in Rate Beer, 94 within the wheat beer style. Really, really good stuff. And I think this is one thing where they really shine, of course. The Hvede IPA was really good. The stout beer was, the Sort Hvede was really nice. What would be interesting to see them do is a Scotch ale wheat beer. That would be a very interesting addition if they could pull it off, and I'm sure on the basis of this beer they probably could. That to get the kind of Scotch ale character out of this would be really interesting. No, that's a really good beer, there's no doubt about that. So with the hoppy aspects of the beer, there's definitely some German noble hop character in this one. It's very, very smooth around the edges of the palate, where you would expect these hoppy characters to come out. There's a nice, smooth, earthy character at the back of the palate. As you come further forward, it becomes a little bit more grassy and a little bit more floral, but overall, it's just very, very smooth with the hop character. There's a little bit of dryness around the front of the tongue. As I say, a bit of floral or grassy character coming out of it, but overall, it is very, very nice. It's probably fair to say as well that there's a little bit of a red fruity ester coming out of this one, some candied fruit and just that little oily bubble behind the very front curve of the tongue there. You can just feel that coming out, and it just sits there quite nicely and complements the nice chocolatey flavours. In fairness, as I was mentioning, I wasn't really detecting much of a roasted kind of dark bread crusty flavour or a coffee flavour if you like, but you can feel that just kind of emerging in the very back of the palate. You just feel a little bit of dryness building as the aftertaste progresses. It's probably due to your palate kind of adjusting to this beer, and as I always say, sugar the beer around your mouth a little bit and just try and detect all the flavours in this beer. But what's unmistakable about this beer is that it's another great beer from Indslev Bryggeri, and as I said, probably the best one I've tried from them so far. That's really nice. If you do get the chance to try this one, you really have to. There's a good blend here. It's almost like they've taken a nice kind of sweet chocolatey stout, if you like, and blended it with just a very, very smooth wheat beer. As I said, the smoothness in these wheat beers is the kind of trademark of the brewery, and I would like to try one of the regular wheat beer, if you like, the Hvede I think it's called, or the Hvede would be really nice. To try one of the actual white wheat beers without the hybrids or the darkness or anything to it. That would be a very interesting step to try for my next review for these guys. I do have the Weizenbock, which I'm sure will be very nice as well, but I'd love to try the original wheat beer from these guys and just get the feel for that one. But overall, this is another very, very solid beer from Indslev Bryggeri, and as I said, probably the best one I've reviewed from them. So if you like a sweet stout and you like a smooth wheat beer, then this one is a real hybrid, and it really hits both things right on the head and puts them together in a really just nice mix. You have to try this beer for yourself and see what it's all about. It's very, very good. So in terms of the mouthfeel with this one then, definitely mid-bodied. Carbonation is very smooth, as you would come to expect with Indslev Bryggeri. There's a good balance here in the malt with this one. There's a little bit of oily character. That helps bring out a little bit of the little kind of casual, fruity aspect of the beer that I mentioned, and it also helps bring out some of the malty sweetness. They've got a good balance here. It does lean a little bit more towards the sweet malty character, but you've got a lot of that breadiness in there, and it finds a good bridge between that. And as I said, as you move into the aftertaste in the later stages of the beer, there is just a little bit of roasted character there too, so there's a very, very good balance to the malt flavour of the beer. The hops are very smooth, and there is just a tiny little bit of juiciness from that candied fruit flavour. But overall, another very, very good beer, and probably the best one I think that you're going to try from Indslev Bryggeri. As I always say, rate beer very rarely guides you in the wrong way when it comes to craft beer, and I think they're very right in saying this is probably the best beer you're going to try from Indslev Bryggeri. So yeah, if you get the chance to try this one, I'd recommend it to you, as I say, if you like a sweet stout and a very smooth wheat beer. It blends both things together very, very well, and I think this is where Indslev Bryggeri and of course Ugly Duck kind of shine, is when they try and do these hybrids of beers. They do it very, very well, so hopefully we can see many more of these sort of hybrid styles in the very near future, and hopefully I can still review these on the channel for you. But thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. As always, please let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Always interested to hear from you guys that are trying the videos, and thank you for watching. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Check out my social media things too, and to those of you watching in Denmark, please do let me know what some other beers and breweries you'd like me to check out. But in the meantime, go and check out Indslev Bryggeri, particularly this beer. I think it's the best one that they do so far, or at least the best one that I've tried from them so far. Their Ugly Duck beers are awesome as well, so go and check them out, and I hope you enjoy them, and do let me know your thoughts on all of them, and you can see my reviews in the channel. Cheers just now, and I will catch you soon, and we will be returning to these guys in the very near future. Skål!